Hi, my name is Ricky, and I'm going to be telling you a story that was told to me by my aunt and uncle. A long time ago, two people, Riley and Fred, they were a newlywed couple who had a love for exploring new areas. They always went on vacations and trips to all kinds of different areas that were well known for hiking and overall just being in the great outdoors and learning and exploring. One day, they decided to go to this one area that was said to have these mountains, to which, if you were to go up on them and watch the sunset, it was said to be a beautiful sight. They were so intrigued by this that they agreed to go sometime in the morning so that they could hike the whole day and find the mountain. Unfortunately, there was an issue with this. During their hiking experience, probably midway through, they realized they had forgotten their map. Up until then, they had just been hiking aimlessly because they assumed that if they really needed to find the correct path, they could just pull out their map and could get back on the right track. But this was not the case. They had no map. They were officially just roaming around, not knowing where to go. They were lost. It was looking quite grim. Night was starting to come, and it was honestly seeming very dangerous. It would be a good time now to mention that this was a time before iPhones or such cellular data, so calling somebody for help was not readily available for them. It was really starting to look grim. However, about sometime before sunset, they ran into this woman who claimed she was a part of the park rangers and that her job was to go out and always help any lost hikers find the correct path. Thankfully, she came at just the right time. Having little to no food, having already eaten all theirs, low on water, and still lost, she came at the right time. She provided Riley and Fred with food and water and got them back up to their spirits. They were starting to think that they would be okay. When she asked them, "What were you doing out here anyway?" they answered, "We wanted to see the sunset on the mountains." Thus, she then agreed to quickly take them up to the mountains so they could see the sunset and then point them in the right direction that would get them straight back to their vehicle. They went up onto the mountains, a bit of a tricky climb, but overall they made good time because when they reached the top, they saw the sunset. It was breathtaking, and they really felt happy knowing that they were able to see something so beautiful to make up for the horrible day that they had. When the sunset was over and it was starting to get very dark, the park ranger, whose name they had noticed she never said, but she just kept helping them. Anyway, when the sunset was over, and once again it was getting dark, they asked her to point them back in the right direction. She did so, but before they left, they asked, "Listen, you have helped us so much. Could we get a picture with you just to mark this crazy occasion?" She agreed. They quickly took a picture on their Polaroid camera and they headed on their way. They went in the direction she told them to go, and eventually they made it back to their car. When they drove home, they were just wanting to get to bed and just forget about this experience for being so stressful. So they did. They went to bed that night and they woke up the next morning, feeling much more relieved knowing that they were in their house and not the woods. During breakfast time, it was around this time that they were reviewing all the things that had happened, and something interesting came up. When they were reviewing the photos that they had taken throughout their trip, it was when they got to the one with the park ranger that startled them. For you see, Fred had taken a picture of Riley standing right next to the park ranger, both of them smiling and waving at the camera, but the photo itself, they had not noticed before. The park ranger was nowhere in them. It looked as if Riley was just standing all by herself, just waving at the camera, her arm draped around nothing but the air. They thought that maybe it was a glitch, but Fred was certain that he got the park ranger in the shot, and he was certain that the photo had her in the picture at first. They had no clue why she wasn't in the photo. No trace of her. It was eventually they would go back to the same park to which they would. Sorry. It was then that they would go back to the same park and ask the official park ranger station who this woman was. They could only give a description, but the head park ranger knew exactly who they were talking about. Apparently, a couple years ago, a woman matching the description of the woman that they had encountered had died in the forest. She always helped those find their way when they were lost, but one day she was sadly killed. Nobody knows by what, but she was killed. It was said, however, that her ghost still roamed the park, helping those who were lost find their way home. They haven't gone back to that park since. Okay, I hope you all enjoyed, and that's the story. It fits on one page. I have it like right off to the side, but that's basically it. Hope you enjoyed.